Hi Best Buds, it's Cathy with Cathy's Garden, and I'm so happy that you joined me today. Today we're going to be making junk journal embellishments. I'm going to have a few ideas for you. It's easy, it's fun. I have a lot to show you in this video. But first let's have our shout out to Daggy, Zelda, Wendy, Fur, and Noreen. I appreciate each and every one of you. So I have an example here. I took a coffee dyed envelope and I simply decorated it with the items that I'm going to show you how to make. And then I have it on the back as well. And after we make a few of our pieces, then we're going to go ahead and decorate a digital vintage letter to go inside of our envelope using our pieces that we're going to make together. So I also have a tag. Now this one doesn't have any of the polka dotted paper in it, but I still think it turned out beautiful. This one right here is a pocket that I made. These are all out of index cards. Super simple, right guys? I love them. So let's begin. So I wanted to show you how I started. I started with some tracing paper. I purchased this at Walmart. I do know that Hobby Lobby carries it, and probably some other places. I do believe it's easy to find, at least here in the United States. Let's go ahead and take out one piece. So we're going to remove one piece, just like this. And I wanted to show you how I coffee dye my tracing paper, because I've had a lot of people ask me. This coffee is coffee slurry. You make it the intensity color that you want. I have a sponge brush, and I simply paint my coffee slurry onto my tracing paper. I don't dunk it. I used to a long time ago, but that's too much work, takes up too much electricity, and my papers tended to rip. Yes, this will curl on you. That is the one thing with the tracing paper, that it is going to curl. But if you dunk it, it would really curl. It would really be quite difficult. So I'm just coffee dyeing one side. I'm not coffee dyeing two sides. I'm not turning it over. I'm not going to coffee dye the back side. I'm just doing one side. I'm going to clean up. We're going to continue. Now I have my dried tracing paper that's been coffee dyed. What a wonderful sound, right guys? So what I want to do first is I'm going to bring in some napkins. So I have been working on this project for a little while now. So as you can see, I have been using my napkins, and I think that as I look at the camera, what you're looking at, I think this one shows up really well. So does this one. Alrighty. So what I have here is I have a small paintbrush, and I have water inside of here. I'm simply going to get my paintbrush wet, open up my napkin. Now you know napkins come in 2-ply or 3-ply. I removed those other pieces. I only have 1-ply right here. And I'm going to take my wet brush and I'm going to trace around where I want to instead of cutting, I'm using the water to cut. Now the water will spread, and so you don't want to put it, like if you want just these flowers, you just see how I put it on the outside, because it's kind of like glue. When we glue in a pocket and the glue spreads, well, the water is going to spread too. So then I simply pull my napkin away from my picture. And sometimes I take and I just clean up, gently pulling, removing the wet part of the napkin. It'll tell you where the wet part is, and you won't be able to pull where it's dry. It won't come off this easily. And there we have a nice little piece. Now I really think I want to get rid of that little other flower right here, that red color. That's another flower. So I'm just going to get my brush again, and I'm simply going to paint it, adding the water right on, lifting it up, and then simply pulling, and it will pull that right off. There we are. So pretty, right? All right, so that's how I did that part. Now, I'm not going to go into, long dissertation about this because I have a lot I want to show you. Let's bring back in our tissue paper. I have watered down school glue. It's school glue with a little water. How much water? Oh, you guys, I don't know. When it gets a little thick, I add a little more. If possibly I filled this whole thing up with glue, then I put this much up with water. Okay? I don't measure it. It's just, Anyway, if you use Mod Podge, there's no reason why you can't use Mod Podge. If you like it, use it. If you've got it, use it. Don't go buying school glue if you don't have it. If you've got the Mod Podge instead, then use the Mod Podge. I personally like the white school glue. That's just me. We all have our personal preferences. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. I'm applying my glue right onto my tissue paper that's been coffee dyed. I have another brush right in here. It's also in the water. And I'm simply going to brush my glue out like this. I'm going to lay my napkin on top. And then I'm gently going to start from the center and just pull it out from the center around the edge. Then I'm going to add just a tiny bit more glue on top. It won't take much. Well, that's way too much, but that's okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then just brush it. Now you can't brush it over and over again because it will rip. But this is how that looks. And when it dries, it will look like, I'm looking for the one that it's going to look like, because these are waxed. Yeah, I didn't tell you that yet. These are waxed. I'm looking for one that's not waxed. I think I got wax crazy, guys, and I wax everything. All right, so let me set this over to the side. I think that will probably dry fast enough that I can show you one that's not waxed. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I'm looking for heaven's sakes, where is it? Here we are. This right here. Now, this is tissue paper. It's the polka dotted tissue paper. Now, I found this, sorry about my voice, guys. I found this at Hobby Lobby. Yeah, Hobby Lobby. And I just think it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm going to cut this down so it's workable size. It's a little big right now for the camera area, so let's just cut it down right here. Cut this. I'm going to cut I'm just actually going to cut it just like this. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to bring in I've got so much going on here. Here it is. Let me move these napkins off. They want to fall. It's just a file folder, and I'm just using it to suck up the wax. Now, I know you all don't have these wax pellets, or they're almost like, they look like little chips. Let me show you what it is. Organic white beeswax. I purchased this off of Amazon. It looks just like that. I do like the white better than the creamy colored one. If you don't have these, you can get yourself a white candle. You can pick up an inexpensive white taper candle. You take a knife and just do some shavings. Be easy, just perfect. I have people ask me, because I've done this before, but it's been quite a while, and they're all worried about this wax sticking and melting and doing all kinds of crazy things to their junk journal. Well, the only thing I can say to you is, if you can keep a candle in your house and it doesn't melt and it doesn't get sticky, then you're not going to have any problem with this. Anytime you place a candle where it's too hot, you're going to have a problem. So if you place this out in the hot, hot sun and then, you know, I don't know, with a dome, a glass dome over it, and it probably will melt a little bit. So you just have to be, you know, you have to think about stuff. I just put a little bit of the little pieces of wax on top of this not tracing paper. What the heck did we call this? Tissue paper. Now I'm going to go get my travel iron because we're going to iron this on. And this is the coolest thing that happens, guys. I need to tell you, it is so much fun. Hang on, let me get my iron. All right, so this is my little travel iron. I only use it for my crafts. I did buy it years ago at Walmart. I'm not sure if they still have it. Maybe they do. If you have an iron, if you're using the iron, then I just marked it at half. I didn't put it on max. It's just half. And simply melt your little pieces, whether they're the chips that you purchased or whether you shaved off a white candle. Either one will work perfectly well. Simply melting the wax right on here. You see it came right up. Put a little bit more. I want to do this whole sheet so you can see what it looks like. Plus, I think we're going to use a little. Well, I know we're going to use some when we decorate our vintage letter to go into our envelope. This just takes a few minutes. It is a lot of fun. I have been doing this for hours. I've gotten so many of these pieces done just to save them for later use. I think it would be so pretty to use in Easter pieces. Oh, well, obviously you don't want to rip it. Okay, I've got that done. Now I'm simply going to wipe off my iron. Now I would not use an iron that you use for your clothes for this because, well, I wouldn't. I don't know if you would or not, but I wouldn't. So it is a craft iron. All right, sitting that over on the side there. Now I want you to look at this. That is so cool. It turns into, like, I don't know, see-through stuff. It is so pretty. And it's not, look, it's still bendy. It's not like hard like you would think the wax would make it stiff. It's not. It is the coolest thing. I accidentally came upon this when I don't know, I just had it on my desk and I decided to use it. And I was like, I'm so happy. I think this is the coolest stuff. All right, so now let's get back to, I think this is dry. This is, remember we put this on the tracing paper. Now I'm going to turn this over on this side, and my iron is not super hot. I've turned it off, and I'm going to just iron it just a little bit, just to get it to not be so crinkly. Just like that. So see it straightened it out. It's really beautiful. Now you can either leave it like this, or you could ink it. I mean, not ink it. You could put your wax on it, which I've put wax on this one. It's still bendable. Look, see? It's not hard. It's firm because you can hold it up like this and it doesn't flop down. It's not like a napkin anymore. It's got some stability to it. Now this one right here, this one's torn and I've inked it. These are those wavy cut scissors. I've had them for truly like 20 years, maybe longer. Okay, I had a set. I just have a few left. I think I bought them for the kids or something. Anyway, I'm going to trim this out real quick, and then Let me get it to a workable size. I'm going to just follow around. I'm not really fussy cutting, but I am going to follow it around. The original piece that I cut out with my water brush. That. Isn't that pretty? Now, there's that one, and then there's this one. So there's two totally different looks. And I think the look would show up a little better if I inked it for you. And then you can see the difference. Because it's kind of hard to see if it's not inked up. There. So maybe you have one of those scissors that you could use. And if you don't, then you can just tear it. Either way, it's really pretty, isn't it? All right, you guys, so I have another idea. Let's say you don't want to use the wax, but you still want to kind of use some of this tissue paper. This is just a piece of dyed copy paper. And I'm going to tear some of these little, this tissue paper into smaller pieces. And I'm just going to tear that one off. And then this one. Yeah, just a few pieces. There we go, just like that. Now, remember, I do have this in white as well. I just didn't get it out. So I'm going to collage. I guess I do need to get it out if I'm going to collage, right, guys? All right, let me open the package and get it out. All right, you know I said this was coffee dyed copy paper? We don't need that. We need that coffee dyed tracing paper. And then you have your tissue paper. You've got your brush, and you've got either your Mod Podge or your white school glue. And we're simply going to paint on our glue onto our tracing paper, and then we're going to lay on a piece of tissue paper and brush on the top. Now you can tell if you've got the glue covering your tissue paper because the gold, at least on my type of that I'm using with this shiny gold circles, is that you can see the glue on the circles. I don't know if you can see it while I'm doing it, but I am simply placing the tissue paper here and there on the tracing paper and gluing it on. Okay, so after you do that, you cover up your whole paper. Then it's going to look like this, or maybe it's going to look like this. Okay, so you see what I mean by I have so many things to show you. All right, so let's take one of these and let's take the one we made. See, look how gorgeous that is on there. Now you can either do the wax again, or I find it to be just as easy to add your glue or maybe your Mod Podge, whatever it is that you like, and just apply it on and then stick this on and then glue it down. It might take a little more glue than that. And simply just glue it down. And of course, you're going to have to let it dry. That's just a given, right, guys? You have to let it dry. But that looks super cool on there. Now, I've got some that I've done quite a few with. Now, you can either, at this point in time, I even put some words up here that was off a napkin. You could actually use this just like this because it really is pretty. Couldn't you see that in a spring journal? That's gorgeous. But we're making ephemera pieces. So there's another idea that you can take and run with it. Or you can simply, I'm just going to use my scissors here, and I'm going to cut this out right here. You can tear around your image just how you want. I'm actually tearing around, leaving enough of the gold polka dots to show, just to, you know, give it a little flare. And then we need to tear it on this side, all the way across. Well, there we go. It's not hard to tear either, being that you've already put so much glue on it and everything. Isn't that gorgeous? You could put that on the front of a journal even. Now, of course, if you ink, you could ink that up, or you could, instead of tearing, you could get your specialty scissors, and you could just, I'm just going to get this trimmed out here, and you can just trim around and kind of fussy cut it. You know what I mean by fussy cut. I'm not really getting close to the image. I want to show some of those polka dots. And then we have this one. Oh my goodness, you guys. I mean to tell you, I have had so much fun doing all kinds of things. I'll do this, and then I'm like, oh, well, what if we do this? And oh, what if this, and this, and this. Okay, so now, do I have anything else I want to show you before we get started? Oh, I did a larger napkin like this, and then I stamped on it. That was another idea that I had. You can see that I stamped with words on there. So you could do that too. You could use stamps on top after it's completely dry. All right, so now let's bring in our vintage letter. And my idea to show you some things besides showing you what you can do with them here is to go ahead and let's fold this letter. Let's fold this letter. Let's see. How do I exactly want to fold it? I think I want to put my embellishment over here. So let's fold it maybe like this. Okay. And that's going to fit inside nicely, right? Yeah. And then let's fold it up and then maybe down, right? That's going to fit in there. Okay, I'm just lining things up so it's not, I don't want to fold it crooked. And then I will fold this one down, and hopefully that's going to fit inside. Oh, perfectly. All right. So this is what we're going to decorate to go inside of our beautifully decorated envelope. Now, what I would do, the first thing, is I would just bend this, I'm not creasing it, just to get my corners lined up, and then I would use my corner rounder, and I would take the tips off of my corners. And then because I love to ink, thinking, is that the right word I was supposed to say? I am going to ink this all around. Now I'm going to take the moment and I'm going to ink this around, and then once I get it inked, I'll be right back. All right, so when I ink up a letter, everywhere that I have folded it, I go ahead and run my sponge with the ink on it. My thought process with this is that I ink to make it look older. And so this letter is supposed to have been in this envelope for a very long time. So that's kind of the age marks on it. And this is where I was thinking that it would be really pretty to put one of these pieces of ephemera. Now I am going to look to see which one did we do earlier? What has happened to it? What has happened to all these pieces? I mean, you guys, my table is exploding. I might have to cut another one because I have no idea where that one went that we made together. Oh, we cut it out. Oh, we glued it on. There it is, right there. We We didn't iron it though, and it's kind of, it really should be ironed to make it flat so the glue will stick on it better. That's okay. We can use one of these. You got the process. You got the idea. That one is really pretty on there. All right, so I think now I could either use this and then add in some of our pink this way, or you could use one that's already has the pink and the collage underneath it. Remember, we did two different ways. We did them singly, and then we did them where we collaged the paper, and then we added the napkin and we glued it on, becoming this. Remember I said, oh, I have so many ways of doing things, and I'm sure you will come up with your own way of doing things. This has so many possibilities that you can run with. I just was so excited when I was working with this. I just thought, oh, how am I going to make a video trying to show what you can do with this? You know, and a lot of people say, well, I don't have digitals, but you can make your own little embellishments to go on your old book pages. So maybe this is an old book page and not a vintage letter. You can do all kinds of things with this. So I like that a lot, but I'm thinking, what happens if we share a bit of this waxed tissue paper, and let's just, we can either place it underneath like this, or, oh, and see the words come through it so easily. Or maybe we can either place it on top. See, you could do it either way. You could put it underneath, or you can put it on top. I really like it on this one underneath. Do I have an example of one being on top? This is underneath. Oh, here's my letter. Did I put some letters underneath or on top? Yeah, this one's on top. This is the white. The white is a bigger gold circle. This is on top, and this is underneath. So there's all, you know, so many different ways of doing this project. You can really have so much fun working with this. And if you don't want to use the wax, then just do it in the method in which I showed you, to use just the glue or the Mod Podge, whichever you'd like. Now, I want to put this piece right here, so I'm going to add my glue, and then I'm going to grab my brush. I'm going to try to get a lot of the water out of my brush. And I'm just going to brush this on, brush it out, I should say, and then just add my tissue paper on here. And I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more tissue paper, maybe this way. Now see, I didn't get any glue underneath there, so it's not sticking because I did not add any glue underneath. So if I can just lift that up. There we go. There, easy fix. Alrighty, and now I think I'd like to lay this right on top. Do I want a little bit more right down here? I think I do. So adding a little more glue right here, and adding this, and then we're going to glue this on top. Now, because this is heavier, I think I'm going to add my glue right onto this and spread it out before I put it on my letter. Now I'm going to just, I think I want it to go this way. Oh, goodness gracious. It looks so pretty on there. Adding a little more glue so that it really sticks down. Of course, you would need to let this dry. and then you would have to cut the little tissue off here. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, that's going to go absolutely beautiful with this letter in this letter inside this envelope. You guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this. I hope that you find this exciting as much as I do. And if you have, please give me a thumbs up. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. I'll see you there, guys. Bye now.